Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, in this week's blog, we're going to be talking about the case of Antonyuk v. James, or rather, the lack of a case of Antonyuk v. James. This is a New York case that specifically challenges two component parts of the New York Penal Code as it relates to concealed carry permit holders and will have a direct effect on Californians. So in New York, they have two separate component issues, one of which many of you that have CCWs will readily recognize. The first component is that in order to get a concealed weapons permit, you need to have good moral character. Now, as I've said before, I don't really know what that is supposed to mean, but that is clearly a violation of the Bruin standard, where the Supreme Court stated that in a state's decision to issue a CCW, it must be based on objective criteria. Well, good moral character is the ultimate in subjective criteria. The second component part was that even if you have a concealed weapons permit, there are certain sensitive locations, very similar to what we have in California, right? And their list of sensitive locations is just as expansive and completely, arbitrary and capricious as what we have in California. So a lawsuit was challenged in New York, essentially arguing that both this good moral character requirement and the sensitive locations were unconstitutional. Well, the trial court disagreed. The appeals court said, no, it's perfectly acceptable for a state of New York to have these restrictions. And the plaintiffs appealed to the United States Supreme Court. 2 Mondays ago, the United States Supreme Court refused to hear the case. Now, this is very, very troubling because just at absolute first blush, this is without a doubt massively unconstitutional. I mean, the sensitive locations are unconstitutional in and of itself, but the good moral character doesn't even pass through the basic test. So what does that mean for us in California? Well, after the Bruin decision, the California legislature amended the California Penal Code to remove good moral character. I think this may be a signal to the California legislature that they should reintroduce good moral character. It's, like I said, extraordinarily problematic, but it is the terrain in which we are currently deployed. If you read the blog, you'll get a far more detailed analysis than in this video, so I definitely encourage you to do so. Most important thing, understand, the fight isn't over. It continues, and we need more soldiers in our ranks. It is incumbent upon all of you to recruit more people into the Second Amendment community. As always, train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. Above all else, stay safe.